What's going on there, YouTube? This is Quinn, that Snazzy iPhone guy, and this is my video response video. First of all, I would like to thank everyone for responding to 90-second tech so well. I am really excited for it, and you should be too. We got 850 subs in less than 48 hours. The first video review was very well perceived, so I cannot thank you anymore for that, because I really am astonished at how well it turned out, and thanks to all of you for your dedicated support. For those of you classic TSIGers that refuse to go to 90-second tech, that's fine. We're still going to be doing stuff like this on here that you won't get anywhere else. So if you like 90-second tech, be sub to both channels, because this is going to bring you some stuff you won't find over there, and vice versa. So let's get started with those video responses.
What do you think about 3D technology?
I love 3D.
So, not really. You know, I am kind of skeptical about how 3D will turn out. I think it's a good technology. I think it's a good idea. The technology itself is pretty amazing, but I'm not personally a fan. I don't like it in the cinema. I don't like it on my mobile. You know, it's not something I really want around me. It's not because the technology hasn't developed, or it's not because it hurts my eyes, because it doesn't. I just don't want to watch stuff in 3D. Two-dimensional is just fine. It's not the fact that I have to put on glasses, even though you do look at like a total dweeb with glasses on. Moreover, it's kind of just, I don't know, I'm not into the trend. And of course people are saying, well, there's these glasses-free TVs. They're not even close. I went to 2 glasses-free TVs at CES, and both of them were horrendous. They mess with your eye patterns, and I'm not even sure they'll be able to develop this technology. I don't know. It just physically messes with your mind, and watching it for more than 20 seconds hurts your eyes. It's the same technology that the Nintendo 3DS uses, but since it's a smaller scale item, it shouldn't be too sickening. But no, I really disliked that kind of 3D. I think the glasses-free 3D is still kind of, you know, it's cool, but it's a little bit gimmicky, and I can't really see it evolving in the future. People are saying, oh, more 3Ds are purchased than anything else in the world, and that's because you pretty much can't buy a TV without 3D anymore, not because it's something that's a wanted feature. So it's not that I don't think it's cool, it's not that I don't think it's a great technology, it's just that I don't feel it will develop because it's not completely natural.
Do you think video or audio is the most important part of a video if you had to choose between the two?
You know, the incredible thing about YouTube is it's still coming through the internet. You're still using your bandwidth, and most of the time people don't want to wait 20 minutes to watch a 5-minute tech review render in 1080p. The fact of the matter is HD is cool, but it's not necessarily mainstream yet. And I'm careful to say that because HD and good video quality is important. But in terms of YouTube video tech reviews, I would say audio is more important because, yeah, you're showing off the product, yeah, camera is important, but crappy audio is more unpleasant than anything else in my opinion. I would listen to an audio podcast before I'd listen to a video podcast, and so audio is crucial in my mind. Now, some people wouldn't agree with me, but I'm going to have to say that audio is more important. I would focus on good audio. Now, that's not to say that camera isn't important, because a good camera is important. However, you can have a subpar camera, and so long as you have decent lighting will compensate for a subpar video camera. So I would focus on your audio. Additionally, you can't find a lot of great cameras under 170 bucks. So yeah, I would focus on a USB mic. Get the Yeti Pro. You know, Blue makes great stuff. I'm actually getting a couple of other products to review in a couple weeks, so I'll be doing some of that stuff. But you know, Audio-Technica, they make the AT2020. That's a good microphone as well. Lower budget. And so yeah, I would say audio is more important on YouTube, but that's just my opinion.
Quinn, why are you such a douchebag?
No, what are you doing? Go to the next one.
What happens behind the scenes of that Snazzy iPhone guy? How do you set up your lighting equipment? How do you set up multiple cameras?
Yeah, so this is my setup. It's pretty basic. Very low ceiling. I moved it from over here, but seeing as though this is where my setup is, I'm back over in this corner. We got 2 box lights here. These are lamps that they're pretty white light, super high fluorescent, but if you adjust the white balance perfectly, you can get a pretty good looking picture. So I have my T2i here. This is what I typically shoot reviews with. If not, I'm using the camera I have right now. This is a much better camera for zooming and for autofocusing. That's what I don't like about the T2i, even though I do have digital zoom on there, because I have the Magic Lantern software, which is basically alleviates the need for the T3i. So check that out. I have my microphone right here. I actually bend over this. It's very uncomfortable, but you know, tech's a rough life. And then I film the product right here. So, you know, pretty basic setup. I got my table, got a tablecloth on it. It is a cloth designed for videography. So it actually captures and balances this really harsh light and doesn't reflect it back into the lens, but it has it absorbed into the product. So that's my setup, very basic. The camera was pretty expensive. I have, this is my main camera angle. When I do other camera angles, I usually set a miniature tripod right there, and then sometimes I have a third tripod hanging over this corner right here on the side. So I have 3 tripods. This is my new one. It's pretty nice, I like it. And then I have my mic stand. It was like 20 bucks bargain. I have my pop filter, that was like 40 bucks. I have the T3i, it was like 600 bucks. My tablecloth was like 20, and these box lights I got for review, but they're like 250 if you don't get them for review. Anyway, yeah, that's my setup.
Hey Quinn, I want to know how I can play Microsoft games on my Mac. What program I need to download, or how I can go about doing that to play non-Mac compatible games on my Mac. Thanks.
I'm actually a really good, I'm a noob, but I'm a noob console player. I don't play a lot of computer games, probably partially because I don't own a Windows machine where all these video games are produced for. However, from what I've read, from information I've gathered from various forums in the interwebs, I've kind of decided that there's really only one good way to game on a Mac when you're using Windows games, and that is to run Windows under Boot Camp. Now, there are virtual machines, which is a OS, or Windows, for example, running inside of Mac OS X. So there's 2 OSs running simultaneously. The one you're not using kind of goes into hibernate mode, but you still don't get a lot of superior performance because both OSs are running. It's very laborious on your system. Even if you have a $5,000 computer system, it's not going to feel top-notch. So there's a bunch of different ways to do it. You can use Parallels and VMware if you're looking to just use some light applications. You can also use Crossover, which is actually incredibly cool. It makes it makes Windows applications standalone Mac applications. So there are some compatibility issues with that though, because it creates a falsified Windows environment. So the best way, and really the only way to get good gaming performance, is to use Boot Camp, which means you do have to own a copy of Windows or steal it. But that's aside the point. So it's free from Apple. It's actually built into OS X by default, and you can get that stuff figured up and set and ready to go in a couple hours. So just Google Internet, just do a web search for Boot Camp setup. So there you go.
Where you think technology reviewing will be in like maybe 5 or 10 years, if you think that video reviewing technology is still going to be a popular thing.
So I feel very terrible about all of this. I have your question right here, but for one reason or the other, I forgot to answer it. So I'm doing it right now in my pajamas. How did I start technology reviews? Well, actually, I saw It's Me Morpheus, he was my idol, probably with everyone else, and I started reviewing iPhone cases. I just wanted to kind of get into it. I wanted to build an audience. I wanted to get out there. I never really had the intentions of getting free product or, scoring AdSense revenue. I just started wholeheartedly by buying my own stuff. And so that was something that was pretty cool, and I've obviously evolved greatly from then. My first few videos are terrible, but there you go. As for, what was your second part? Your second part was, where will technology reviewing be in 5 to 10 years? The question is, the answer to which I will provide to you is probably it'll be more prolific than ever. As we can see with television and other entertainment media, books are kind of dying away. Don't get me wrong, books are still fantastic. I'm a huge book fan, but people don't read books as often as they used to, and I feel the same will be with physical print. I love reading reviews. That's something I love doing, but I will sooner watch a 30-second video telling me everything I could read in 5 minutes in an article. I'd even watch a longer video in something I could get by skimming an article. I really like the video aspect of it, and I think most people do as well. I actually search stuff on YouTube before I search it on Google. So, that's just me, but I think it'll be more prolific than ever, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
What is the best digital camera that is cheap but can also support a external mic?
I don't really know what your definition of cheap would be. Mine's about sub $200, and there aren't a lot of fantastic cameras in that price range. I would actually recommend a standard definition camera. HD cameras are all kind of, it's HD. HD really doesn't mean a lot. It does because it shoots in HD, but my general rule is the larger the glass or the larger the aperture, the better the video quality. So rather than getting a Flip Mino HD, which is HD, and has a pinhole-sized lens, I would get a standard definition camera. Again, like I stated earlier, video is more, you don't need HD video, you just need good quality video, and you can get that out of the Canon FS300. That's what I would recommend. It's about 170 bucks, and it's one of the best standard definition cameras you can find out there for the money.
What do you think is the future for the MacBook Pros, especially the 13 and the 15-inch one?
For some reason, I feel like you would probably already know the answer to this. As you know, the MacBook Pros were all updated. I am very excited. I will be getting, or I'm hoping to get, the 15-inch i7 2.2 gigahertz. If that doesn't come through, which it may not because it's a $400 premium, I'll get the regular 2.0 gigahertz, laptop. It's $1,700. It ain't cheap. But, the future for the 13-inch MacBook Pro, you got an i5 in there, you've moved away from the i3 Intel Core 2 Duo processor, you have standalone AMD graphics versus NVIDIA built-in chip graphics, which is nice to hear. And there's a lot of expandability out there. So, the new MacBook Pro update, in my opinion, was huge. You have the HD eyesight camera, which looks fantastic, considering it's still the same size as it used to be. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend to buy a MacBook Pro if you're looking to get a MacBook Pro. This is the year that the upgrade is important. So, there you go.
Will you be getting the Verizon iPhone? Do you have the Verizon iPhone? Are you sticking with AT&T?
I'm not a fan of Verizon, and it's not because they're the #1 cell provider in the country. It's not because they have more market share than any other company in the world. That's false. But it's because I do not like them as a company. I don't think their customer service is good. Not to say AT&T's is great, but it's better than Verizon's. I don't like the fees they charge. They're more expensive. And in my hometown, Salt Lake City, Utah, they're just frankly not as good. Now, when you leave Salt Lake City, Utah, Verizon is by far and above the best because of the analog technology. Obviously, you're going to get more signal in more places. So, yeah, I mean, when we go to Lake Powell, it's nice to have a Verizon phone because you'll get service on the lake when AT&T users think again it's not there. But that being said, I really dislike them as a company. They've charged us falsely for services we didn't use in the past. So we left them because we weren't really happy with their service and because because AT&T had the iPhone. Now that Verizon has the iPhone, we're not really looking to change because we're actually quite satisfied with AT&T. So there you go.
I am planning on getting a Canon 60D soon. Should I stick with the 18-200 and just get that? Or should I save a little bit of money, get the 18-135, and then use the money that I saved to get a 50mm 1.8?
I don't actually feel that you need the extra zoom. Sure, you get a good deal on the lens, but if you're doing product videos, I mean, obviously you don't need that extra zoom. Now, if you're doing wildlife photography, if you're doing something like that, yeah, you're going to want some extra zoom because you can, shoot further. But if you're not looking to do any advanced photography yet, and you can always upgrade lenses. I mean, I've bought 2 lenses since I bought my camera. Not a big deal. You can find them on Craigslist and, eBay for pretty cheap. But, well, not pretty cheap, but a much lesser price than that of Amazon and Canon USA store. So, yeah. But basically what I'm trying to tell you is save the money. Go with the smaller lens and get the Class 6 or Class 10 SD card. You need a Class 6 in order to film video on the 60D. I would recommend a Class 10 because you can shoot faster, but yeah, you don't really need it, and I would recommend you save the money and go buy the card.
My question is about tech reviews and a YouTube partnership. How hard it is, where should I start?
I actually made about a 40-minute video on this several months ago. It never really got up into the search engine, so I get asked it all the time and I just redirect people to this video. But do a YouTube search for how to become a successful YouTube reviewer. You'll find my video. I tell you everything you need to know from product to camera to lighting to what you need to say to names. Everything is covered, and I'm still pretty proud of that video. It's pretty awesome. Anyways, yeah, so that's it.
What I wanted to ask was, are you going to get the new Nook color?
The Nook color actually really intrigues me, and it's not because of its e-reader functions, but it's because it's one of the cheapest tablets out there. Now, it is an Android-powered tablet. From what I saw in your video, it looked like it was really smooth and fluid. So actually, each and every day, I kind of want to get one because it is kind of a hacker's haven. It's a cheap tablet that's, if it breaks, it sucks, but it's a $150 tablet versus a $500 tablet, so it's not that much to worry about. It is pretty solid build quality, or so I've heard, and it looks like a pretty cool hacker device. As for an e-reader, no, I will never read on an LCD screen, seriously. The iPad is not an e-reader in my mind. I use a Nook. Now, sure, the Amazon Kindle is great. Sure, the Sony e-readers are great. It doesn't really matter, just e-ink technology. I'm personally a fan of the Barnes & Noble Nook because they have a pretty good selection. They're actually competing with Amazon to get prices lower and lower, so their best sellers are like $7.99. Which is pretty good, and new releases are like $10. So that's way cheaper than paperback or hardback ever, and even cheaper than Amazon. So That's pretty good. And, you know, yeah, I just think it's a really solid device. It's more an e-reader than anything. This isn't powerful as a tablet. It is running Android, but it's not like I could run Pappy Jump or Angry Birds on it. It's just a tablet, you know. I mean, it's just an e-reader, but that's what I use the Nook for. It's not necessarily a tablet in my mind. But the Nook Color, if you're willing to, you know, hack it and willing to void your warranty and root it, it actually looks like a really solid tablet. So, you know, it's cool, but I don't really have a personal need for it. So that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed picking my brain. We'll do another one of these very soon. It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, rate, comment, and as always, stay snazzy. See you later, folks.